I'm here with Megan Karch, the CEO of FareStart, here at the community table, one of FareStart's new eateries in South Lake Union. Thanks for spending some time with us, Megan.
I'm really excited about it.
So we're going to get to talking about this space and the other eateries that you've recently opened in South Lake Union in partnership with Amazon. But first, let's talk about your time at FareStart and what brought you to Seattle.
Well, I came out here in 2000. I came out here thinking about a new opportunity and really wanting to live on the West Coast. Happened to interview for FareStart, and I remember being on the plane ride home that if these people are for real, I want to work for them. And it turned out they are for real, and fortunately, they chose me.
And you've been here 17
years, yeah.
And quite a bit of change that you've led here at the organization.
Yeah, it's changed a lot over the years. I mean, it was when I joined FareStart, we were a staff of a little less than 20, training about 30 to 40 people a year, operating a restaurant downtown, but really had great aspirations. And to give perspective, this year we will train about 400. We've got multiple restaurants and cafes, and it's changed a lot over the years.
And what has it meant for FareStart to be anchored in downtown?
We were launched 25 years ago, and we started at 2nd and Stewart. And when we were looking for a new building, I remember many people told me, you know, if you're going to afford anything, you really have to move out of the city. And I said, well, you're kind of missing the point. Actually, FareStart really only succeeds if we can connect those who are downtown to the issues of homelessness and those who are homeless to their community. And you can only do that in the thick of it. You can't do that if you're outside of the city. So we're lucky to live downtown. We were fortunate enough to find a building that worked for us. So.
And that proximity and your location downtown has been important to a new partnership that you've recently formed with Amazon. Tell us about how that came to be and what it's produced here over the last several months.
Well, the proximity itself, the building we're in now, I remember when we looked at the building, I remember taking an architect through that building and saying I really wanted it. And I remember he said, really? And I said, yeah. And it turned out to be a great building. I had no idea what was going to happen in that neighborhood. I'd love to take credit that I knew, but I had no idea what was going to happen in the neighborhood.
And this is at 7th and Virginia?
This is at 7th and Virginia. And then really about 4 or 5 years ago is when Amazon announced their big purchase, and they announced that they were going to be moving literally across the street from us and building this urban campus in South Lake Union. And so what we realized was we needed to start a conversation with them. We didn't know where it was going to go. Frankly, I'll be honest, I thought the conversation at best might lead to us having a little kiosk in their building across the street, and we could produce the meals, but it would give us expansion opportunities and training opportunities for students. And really those conversations turned into something way bigger. It turned into 25,000 square feet of space that Amazon provided us to really expand our impact in our community.
And we're sitting in one of those right here, the community table. Tell us about what happens here and some of the other eateries.
We are. So what we ended up doing, and what Amazon was so gracious to provide us, was they provided us the ability to really transform the organization and ultimately, most importantly, really transform lives. And so we have 25,000 square feet of space to work in, and we have 5 businesses within that space. So we operate a full-service restaurant downstairs from here at Maslow's by FareStart. We operate we operate corporate dining for Amazon, but also anybody in the neighborhood who's working in the neighborhood. And that is here at Community Table. And there are 3 different choices of barbecue, fresh bowls, or salads. And then we've got a coffee shop that's right smack dab in the middle of their reception area, which is just fantastic training opportunity for students. And so really what we have been so fortunate to receive from Amazon was the ability to develop new training programs to get people into living wage jobs, and they work within these businesses learning their skills.
And having the space.
Yeah, the space made we couldn't have done it without the space. I mean, building out kitchen space is expensive. And so when we were first talking to Amazon, they asked us what our needs were, and we said that one of our challenges is the facility space because it's so expensive to build, and they really came back with a solution for us.
And can you talk about the story behind the name of this place, Community Table?
Yeah, so Community Table is probably, I love all the names of our new businesses, but it's probably one of my favorites because it represents who we are. And so When we moved into our building at 7th and Virginia, it was about 10 years ago. Right before we moved in, we were designing the space, and it was under construction, and a design gentleman by the name of Darren Medina volunteered his time to help us design the restaurant. And he said, what do you want this space to be like? And I said, well, I don't know what that means in design, but I want it to have a strong sense of connection and community in it when you walk in. So what he did was he was touring the building, and he saw these big, beautiful wood beams and that had been taken down as a part of construction. He said, I want to take these beams and I want to give them new life, because that's what you do. You create new lives. He said, and I want to permanently attach them so that they're permanent, and because what you do is create a strong sense of permanency for people in their lives. And last, I want them to be smack dab in the middle of your restaurant, and as a community table, because that's who you are. You create a strong sense of connection and community. I'll be honest, the first time he told us, our operator said, great, can we cut it in half, put it on wheels so that it's more... And he's like, you're kind of missing the point.
Permanence was important.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, we loved the idea. What I didn't realize what was going to happen is it became the symbol of our soul. It really is. The community table for us represents who we are and what we believe in. And so it was a no-brainer to name this space Community Table.
It's great to have a better understanding of how that table came to be and how the name fits here as well. So we're in this incredible city of food and incredible chefs. What has that meant to FareStart's work, and talk about how you've involved them and the work that you all do to change lives?
Yeah. So, we were founded by a chef. So we were founded by a guy by the name of David Lee, who is a chef that moved on now to form his own company, Field Roast. So we were founded by a chef, and throughout our entire 25 years, the chef community, I think, really helped create who we are today. They've done it by so many things. Most importantly, they do it by hiring our grads. But then they have done it by participating in helping us create the curriculum for this new space, by advising us in our curriculum over the years, by interviewing our students and having them practice, to helping us fundraise. So a great chef in the region, Thierry, you might know, he, in 1994, we almost went under, and he was asked to fundraise for us that year, and he helped turn us around. But really, almost every chef in this region has participated in some way. One of the great things that they participate in is they teach our students what they know. They come in on a guest chef night on a Thursday night. They come in the afternoon, teach the students what they know, prepare this fabulous meal for the public. And they've done this for almost 25 years, every single week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that community, those relationships with other folks in the neighborhood,
it's huge.
Been pretty important to.
And what people don't know is how much our chef community gives. They give and they give and they give to make sure that this community is a place we all want to live.
So you've obviously had a huge impact locally on hundreds of people's lives, thousands of people's lives over the years, but you also stretch that impact nationally. Can you tell us a little bit about Catalyst Kitchens and how you've tried to help others replicate the FareStart model?
Yeah, well, so we formed a national network called Catalyst Kitchens purely to do that, be a catalyst to help people get something started. And it really started almost 17 years ago when we were getting calls. I was getting some calls, and they'd say, hey, I really want this in my city. And one in particular, I remember, was out in Minneapolis, and a foundation called, and they brought me out, and they wanted me to, and I met with everybody. I met with the mayor's office, economic development folks. They brought foundation folks. They brought all these people to the table. And I remember talking to them about our model, and at the end of the meeting, they said, that's great. I said, yeah, thank you. And you brought everybody to the table but one. And they said, well, who? And I said, well, who's going to do this? And they said, well, you are. And I said, no, we aren't like McDonald's or Starbucks. We're not a franchise. We are created from our community, and we exist because of our community. And so it needs to come from your community. And that's really how Catalyst Kitchens got started, was that thought of being catalyst to get something started, but it's created by the city. It's created by their own region and operated differently based on what happens in their city. So Catalyst Kitchens now, we have helped launch over 45 programs nationally. We have over 55 programs that are part of our national network, that our belief is if whatever we do here, somebody on the other part of the country can learn from, and vice versa. We believe that all boats rise, so we should share all of the best practices we know, and we should also share the worst practices so you don't repeat it. And that's really the thinking of Catalyst Kitchens, is to get them started, but then help sustain and scale them, and that's what our network does.
What are some of your favorite stories over the years of being at FareStart and the people that you've helped along the way?
I have so many. So what I would say is, I see people at their best every day.
Mm-hmm.
I am very fortunate in my job. I see students coming through our doors with such commitment to change their lives, and that work so incredibly hard. And so, examples I would give are, I get them every single week. One in particular that stands out is really at a guest chef night, watching one of our graduates from a few years back coming in as a guest chef and being the chef and hiring our grads and getting up on stage to not only talk about their restaurant and not only graduate our students, but he too was a graduate,
mm-hmm.
and that was pretty cool. Another one was I remember I was thanking donors for helping contribute to our organization. I made the call, and I was thanking this gentleman, and he started asking me questions, and he was asking me, and he's from Montana, and he's asking me these really specific questions till finally he came to the end and he said, I want to thank you for talking to me. I also want to tell you that I graduated from FareStart.
Wow.
And I'm living in Montana. I work at one of the resorts here. I own a house, and I have a family, and I wanted to give back because you helped be a part, you helped me reignite my life. That to me was very impactful.
You're putting a lot of people through training. I think what's so impressive is so many of them, I think 90% are getting employment after that.
Yeah.
How did you build that, and so that you're not just providing the training, but you've got folks on the other end that are looking to hire?
Well, we stay focused on the point, and our point is to help people transform their lives, and we use training and a job to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about training, and we know that they have to not only get a job, but get a job that pays them a wage that works for them and stay on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And we also know that employers have a strong need for good labor, for really great employees. And so we stay extremely focused on that. We know that's what our mission is, and that literally every 6 weeks I meet with our students and I give them a report on how we're doing. And I ask them, we rate ourselves on how many of you are getting jobs, what your wages are we rating ourselves on the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, they say yes. But if they ever said no, we should think about doing something even more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're coming for, is they're coming because they want to change their life. They're coming because they want a job. And we need to make sure we do that. And so we look at what our job placement percentage is every single month. Where are we? How are we doing? Are we meeting the needs
mm-hmm.
of the people walking through our door? Are we meeting the needs of our community? Are we meeting the needs of our employers?
You've gone through an incredible period of growth in the last year, opening 5 new eateries and hiring lots more people. What's that meant for you as a leader? What's been most fun about that, and what's been most challenging?
We've doubled in size literally overnight within a year.
Wow.
So we've gone from having a little over 100 staff to over 200 staff. And this has been probably the most growth year for me personally as a leader. I think every year, hopefully I'm learning, because if I'm not, then I won't provide value to FareStart. But I would say this last year, I've never learned more. Just about everything around kind of leading people through change, leading people through growth, really trying to work with a new large corporate partner, to really thinking about the capacity within our organization, but most importantly, to be thinking about who we want to be as an organization and our culture. So, I told you the story of Community Table.
Mm-hmm.
It's connection is everything of who we are, of creating strong sense of connection, strong sense of belonging, primarily for our students. And when you get larger, how do you do that? And how do you keep your soul? So I think this year, for me personally, has been a huge learning growth, and will continue. And I would say that it was also probably one of our hardest years, just because we had so much learning to do and so many projects to get done in a very short period of time.
So when you first came to FareStart, could you have imagined a partnership like the one you formed with Amazon here in downtown?
No, I could never have imagined that we would be where we are today. I wish I could be that visionary. I think the great thing about Amazon is that they thought big. They thought really big. And
bigger than the kiosk that was
bigger than the kiosk.
Your mind.
They thought bigger than the kiosk. And I don't think I ever could have imagined that a business would provide 25,000 square feet of space. And whenever we went to Amazon with our needs, I didn't imagine that they would have continually said yes, and they did. And they continued to say, we want this to be a partnership, and they meant it. And I think we as an organization have grown tremendously over the last 17 years I've been within the organization. I knew that I really wanted us totally ingrained within the business community, because if we're going to connect the issue of homelessness, you can't be out here. I don't think I didn't know or realize that Amazon would become such a large component in our city, but I also don't know if I realized that a company could have that ability to make that big of a commitment, and they did. And when they don't go small, when they choose to do something, they go big. Yeah.
And it's been such a great model to demonstrate what nonprofits and companies and others can do in the middle of a city to help people.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, it meets a need of theirs because they want to feed their employees, but it also meets what they want. They do want to be a part of providing civic leadership in the city, and this is a component of that. So I'm incredibly proud of them as a company, and just incredibly grateful that they would want to partner and make an impact on transforming lives the way they do.
So we're going to move into our lightning round. A couple of questions. Sometimes we ask you to pick your favorite restaurant. We won't do that since you work with so many great chefs in downtown. And we don't want you to have to pick favorites. But maybe your favorite place to go in downtown.
Well, my favorite place to go is actually right in the thick of things. I love Westlake Center. I love what it's become. I love watching people play ping pong. I love seeing the activity. So I walk from my office to the ferry every day, and I walk straight through. And it's really, it's my favorite because every season it changes, and it's fun, and it's dynamic, and you see so many people in the city, and I'm reminded how fortunate we are.
I understand you're a cyclist.
I do like to bike to work.
Ever done the STP?
Never done the STP.
Never wanted to do the STP?
Never done the STP. I biked through Slovakia.
Oh, wow.
That was an amazing experience, but I've never done the STP. I don't have a strong desire, actually, to do the STP. I mean, I love biking. I like biking to work, but I like biking. But if I were to do something like that, I'd want to go visit someplace and bike through their country.
Yeah. We've talked a bit about Amazon. What's the last thing you ordered on Amazon that you can recall?
Christmas wreath for my house. But I will tell you that Amazon is brilliant because their app, when you think of something, you can order it right away. So, I mean, you could ask me any day and it's going to be something different. I think I order something every day.
At FareStart, sandwich plus soup or salad, which is it?
I would do soup. If you're going to have soup or salad, I would choose our soup because our tomato basil is one of the best in town.
And your favorite item on the FareStart menu?
It's either FareStart or Maslow's. At Maslow's, my favorite item is the quinoa salad, and at FareStart, my favorite item is, unfortunately, the cheeseburger.
Yeah, the cheeseburger is delicious, and the pork sandwich at FareStart.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, and thanks to Megan Karch, the CEO of FareStart and the Vice Chair of the Downtown Seattle Association Board, for spending some time with us today at Community Table.